Alex here. Welcome back to week 6 on my channel. Today we're going to be talking about Sacagawea. Now you probably have heard of her before. She's with the Lewis and Clark, the Corps of Discovery, all of that fun stuff. So I just wanted to give you some additional facts about her. So actually this week we're actually going to be mentioning 4 different entries from my list. Now if you watched my personal video last week, you will know that my list is the list of women that are from history that fascinate me, people need to know about. There's about 350 now. The 4 in this video are numbers 22, 78, 117, and 126. And as we go through, I will tell you which number is which. Now I also have 2 books I am citing this week. The first is Who Was Sacagawea by Judith Bloom Fraden and her husband, I guess, Dennis Brindle Fraden, maybe her brother, I don't know. And then this other one, Lewis and Clark, A Prairie Dog for the President. It's an adorable kid's book. I'm sure you've probably seen it somewhere. It's really cute, really fun. Anyway, those are the 2 books for this week. Now, Sacagawea, she is number 78 on the list. She was a Shoshone Indian from Idaho, modern day Idaho at least. She was born approximately 1788, we're not really sure. In 1800, she was taken by another group of Native Americans, the Hidatsa. She was taken by a war party of them when she was 12. The Hidatsa actually gave her the name Sacagawea. Now in the Hidatsa language, Sakaga means bird and Wea means woman. So Sacagawea means bird woman, so we don't know what her Shoshone name is, or if we do, it's not what she's known by. She's known by her Hidatsa name. Anyway, she was taken to North Dakota and sold to a French-Canadian fur trapper named Toussaint Charbonneau. She became one of his wives. He had 2 or 3 Native American wives. And so now let's bring in our next woman on the list. In 1803, Dolley Madison, she's number 126, hosted a fundraiser for the Corps of Discovery. I will be talking more about Dolley Madison in her own video. I just wanted to throw her in here, see how she's related in a way to Sacagawea. Anyway, moving on. On the 11th of February, 1805, Jean-Baptiste Charbonneau was born. That is Sacagawea's son, her oldest child. So he was referred to as Pomp or Pompey by Clark. So on April 7th, the expedition left North Dakota. So it started here in St. Louis, and then they went up here to Fort Mandan. That is where Sacagawea and her husband were. So on April 7th, they left here, continuing westward. Sacagawea was on the expedition. She was an interpreter, a food gatherer, a medicine crafter, all those sorts of things. On the 14th of May, 1805, one of the most famous things to happen to her on the Corps of Discovery happened. Her boat flipped over in the river, and she had to retrieve all these papers, medicines, foods. She just grabbed a whole bunch of stuff, and thankfully it didn't get washed away because it was really important things. So after that, the men on the voyage decided she was very important. They needed to keep a hold on her. Sorry about my dad's phone. On the 17th of August, 1805, Sacagawea was able to reunite with her brother. Now, she had been taken 5 years earlier, and she hadn't seen her family until that time. So her brother's name was Kameawait. I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. He was now the chief of her Shoshone tribe that she was in. Let me keep going here. Now, in September of 1805, the Corps reached another tribe of Indians known as the Nez Perce. And so, the next woman on our list, Watkuese, she's number 117. Her name means lost and was found. Saved the Corps of Discovery from certain death by her tribe, the Nez Perce. Not much else is known about her. All we know is that she was able to save Sacagawea and the other men. So, on the 24th of November, 1805, history was made. Sacagawea and York, a slave on the expedition, voted on where to camp for winter along with all of the other men. This is the first recorded instance in America of a woman and a slave being able to vote. And they ended up voting on right here, Fort Clatsop is where they ended up staying for the winter of 1805-1806. So the voting happened on the 24th of November, 1805. On the 14th of August, 1806, Sacagawea, Pomp, and their husband, Toussaint, returned to North Dakota. Sacagawea was paid nothing for all of her help on the journey, so that's a little unfortunate, but not surprising. In December of 1812, Sacagawea gave birth to her daughter, Lizette, there's two different spellings, one with an S, one with a Z. Anyway, she is number 22 on the list. She was born in December of 1812. On the 22nd of December 1812, we think Sacagawea died. We're not really sure. That's an approximate date. She just disappears from all records at that time. So we think she was about 25 years old. And we think she died from a disease either from having Lizette or something that was just aggravated by having Lizette. She just disappeared. So in August of 1813, Clark adopts Jean-Baptiste and Lizette, the two children. And after that, Lizette disappears from all historical records. We have no idea what happened to her. Maybe she died, no one really knows. In 1823, at the age of 18, Jean-Baptiste moves to Europe, the German court more specifically, and he learned 4 languages in 6 years. He came back in 1829. In 1846 and 47, he became a scout for the Mormon battalion heading westward. In 1866, at the age of 61, he died of pneumonia. Now I can show you some pictures here. I have one of Sacagawea and one of Pomp. Now there are no pictures of Sacagawea. This is one of her statues, and I'll tell you which one in a few minutes. There are no pictures of her, so the only pictures we have are the statues. And this is her son, Jean-Baptiste. So there's that. In 1905, Portland, Oregon unveils a statue of Sacagawea for the centennial anniversary of the Corps of Discovery. In 1973, Jean-Baptiste's gravesite is entered into the National Register of Historic Places. In 2000, Sacagawea is embossed onto a U.S. gold dollar coin. I have one right here. Probably can't see it very well, but there it is. So that's pretty cool that we put her on one of our coins. It's a gold dollar. That's what it is. In 2000 as well, Kansas City created a statue of Lewis and Clark with Sacagawea, Pomp, York, a lot of other men in too. It's 18 feet tall. It's this huge statue. In Three Forks, Montana, there is a Sacagawea Park, which includes a statue. In Lemhi River Valley, there's a statue. That is the one I have the example picture of her. In 2006, the Clatsop National Memorial statue was created. Clatsop is the name of the fort they stayed at over that winter. The Wind River Indian Burial Site. Now, a lot of people think this is where Sacagawea is actually buried, that she lived to be like 100 years old. It's not her. It's actually a woman simply known as Basil's mother. It's not Sacagawea. In Mobridge, South Dakota, the site, there's a huge obelisk-like statue. It says on the statue, Sacagawea is buried 30 miles north of the marker. That's all we really know about where she's buried. And so it's pretty sad. She lived to be 25, and that's pretty much all we really know about this amazing woman. So that's all I have for you this week. Come back next week. I will be teaching you about Hitler, Lincoln, and Margaret Sanger, and how all 3 of them are interconnected in a strange way. So make sure to come back for that. And that's all for this week. I'm Alex. See you then. Bye, guys.